this is my long-awaited bullet journal flip-through video. I figure that since we are at the end of 2016 and I'm going to be starting up a new bullet journal for the new year, now was as good a time as any to flip through this little guy. So first, a rundown of what exactly I'm using. This is a large squared moleskin journal. I've had it since January 2015, so I've had it for almost a full 2 years now. You will see very soon that I was definitely not consistent with the original system. I tried it out at first and then realized it wasn't working for me. My favorite supplies for this include my Pilot G2 .38 pen, my Unipin .01 and 02 pens, and I also love my Pilot Juice pens, my Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liners, and my mild liners, of course. And as we go through this, I'll keep talking about where I get my different like washi tapes and stuff from. So let's get started. Let's see here. So if we open up on the very first page, we've got contact info, all that kind of stuff. We open up to the index. You will see that my index did not last very long. I've also got some sticky notes that I keep up here that I use sometimes in my bullet journal. Used to use these a lot more often, but I don't use them now. Then in January, I did the January events, January tasks as per usual, but I abandoned this about 3 months in. As we keep going, I was very concerned about like trying to make my bullet journal look good, and I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted from it. So when I first started off with my bullet journal, it was very to-do list based, as most bullet journals are, but I also wanted some sort of creative elements in there, and so some of it was very journal-y. I would put grocery notes. I would take notes for different classes if I didn't have my notebooks or spirals with me in class that day. As you can see here, I started getting a little more kind of creative with it. These types of photos I find at a local vintage or antique shop in Austin. You can usually find buckets of these photos, and they're like $1 a piece. So I have loads of these kind of scattered throughout here. Very journal-y with like only a little couple to-do lists. I sort of went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to use this as a journal or as like a productivity place or both. More workshop notes and also quotes and things like that. More notes. You can see that my bullet journal started off as just very text heavy. There weren't lots of visual elements to it. It was mostly just me writing a lot, sometimes doodling, mostly writing. This is one of my favorite quotes from Augustin Burroughs, and it says, "Perfectionism is the satin-lined casket of creativity and originality." You will also be able to see that my lettering has definitely improved a lot since I first got this thing. More text-heavy stuff, and then we get into February. As you can see, didn't really use this either. I tried to figure out, like, I was like, okay, well, I can have quote sections and stuff, but that layout just didn't really work for me. More notes, more to-dos. I started using washi tape here. These washi tapes I got from, this I think I got from Hobby Lobby. These I got from Paper Source. Most of my washi tapes I get from Paper Source and Michaels. Sometimes Hobby Lobby, but mostly Paper Source and Michaels. Sometimes I'll order online from Jet Pens or places like Kawaii Pen Shop and stuff. Or Mochi Things even. Started getting a little tiny bit more creative, started incorporating a little more color in. Still very text heavy, very journal-y based, not very visual at all. It was just very sort of neat. I would add in little, this is actually a pretty good idea that I might incorporate. If I needed to add in little notes again, like to entries that maybe I didn't have room for, I would just add them little sticky notes on top, little things that I wanted to keep in mind. Lots of proper big journal entries. I now use a separate journal for like journal entries. That's my art journal that you may have seen on my Instagram. This is, again, very text heavy. I lost this washi tape, and I'm actually really torn up about it. Okay, now here I think was kind of the turning point, and when I started getting like a little more, maybe this doesn't need to look so neat. Maybe this can be a little more fun than the guy in the original video sort of makes it out to be. It can be fun and functional. So started getting a little more creative, definitely started adding in a little more color. I still had my daily to-dos. I had this little productivity system for a while that ended up not working out, but I would set out like 5 things for me to do every day. And depending on how many things I ticked off, I could get up to 5 points every day. And if I filled out a full week of points, which would be 35 points, then I would level up. And once I leveled it up 5 levels, then I would gift myself something like a new palette or a new game or something like that. Maybe that's a system I want to try again. I'm not sure. Also, this was on March 25th last year, the day, if any of you are in One Direction, the One Direction fandom, and I can't believe that this is all I wrote about it. I just said Zayn leaves one day, aka the worst day of my young life. See, nowadays I would have gotten like a full spread. More quotes, little things. These are also notes from a workshop. I stopped using this as a substitute for like notebooks. I have loads of other notebooks that I started to bring with me to workshops and stuff like that, just because I didn't want to mix these two. You can also see that my handwriting got a lot smaller, or in here at least. Again, we're getting more visual, and I started doodling a little bit more, kind of getting a, what have you. I was thinking of songs that I really liked. Let's see, philosophy notes. Started getting, this was I decided to write down an entire essay plan in my bullet journal, which is something I might do now still, maybe not in as much detail. I would probably use another notebook for that, but that's another idea. You can use your bullet journal as a place for study plans and stuff, or essay plans and things like that. Let's see. This was me. This is just a random journal entry that I had. I have a lot of feelings that I always have to write about, which you can definitely see. Here, this is a feather that my friend gave me. I don't think it's real. I don't know, but she gave it to me, so I wanted to keep it in here to keep it someplace safe. Another great thing about bullet journals is that any memories or stuff you have, you can just kind of slap them in here. I know a lot of people put movie stubs and things like that. I have a spread coming up here in a little bit. Well, you'll see I did something like that. When I went to Vegas for my friend's 21st, a poem I wrote to my body really late at night one night, a strengths list that my therapist asked me to write. Here we go. So I went to New York with one of my best friends, and these are a couple different things from when I went to the Muji store in New York, other little bits and pieces that just remind me of the trip. This was last summer, so this was in August, and so I think that this is when I started getting really sort of more creative with exactly how I was laying out everything. This is probably one of my favorite spreads in my entire bullet journal. I just think all the colors look really good. Really easy way to fill up space is to just 1, slap washi tape over everything. 2, get cute little stickers like this. You can get little sheets of really cute stickers like this in packs of 3 or 4 on Mochi things for like $2. Totally worth it. I might order some more of those soon. So you can see this is when I first listened to Halsey. I don't listen to her anymore. And then this is another spread. These are, hi Mom.
Hey.
So you'll see that I print out like a lot of photos from online, and then I just sort of slap them in here. This is from my first Marc Jacobs palette. And then still a little journaly weekend to-do list. Like I said, I think that adding in post-it notes and stuff like that can be a really easy way to sort of add a little bit of color but keep things really tidy and neat. This was a little lettering practice that I did, and then I decided to slap it in there and put a bunch of other pictures over it. Notes from therapy, more to-dos. This was when Home came out. This was when The Perfect was released. Yeah, and then around this time, this is when, what's it called? Made in the AM came out, so. Or did that come out in? Yeah. Here we have the last show of the On the Road Again tour, which I wanted to mark down because I knew that was a very important event to me. From when I went to ACL last fall. Now you can see this is kind of getting into where, similar to how I have things now, very visual, very colorful, I can't do minimalistic spreads. I've realized like that just doesn't work for me. So I try and think of like my stuff is more, it's tidy, but it's definitely not minimal. This was the last page of 2015. Little did I know what was coming for us all. So, and I started kind of, I think this was my first ever weekly sort of like plan out of my to-dos and stuff for the week. And then I did this little spread for 2016. Very, very simple. This is a excerpt from my favorite poem, Girl of the Earth by Katie Maxwell. I write that in here a lot. This is actually pretty minimal. So again, schedules for my schedule for the new semester. Sometimes I would break down, so I would do like the big to-do, which would be like get packed, need to work on the website and stuff, and then I would break down little things within that, which I find is really helpful if you have a big project that you need to work on but you can't quite figure out exactly how to get started on it, or maybe it's a big project but you know that you just need to do a couple things in it. That's my cat on her scratching post, and she might wander into frame any moments. Oh, sorry. Oh, there she is. Hi, Olivia. Hi, honey. Are you gonna... I can't have you here right now. You're very cute, but you're kind of in the way of things. Come here. Come here. Olivia. Don't lie down. Honey, come here. Come here. Sorry about that. I can't even remember what I was saying now. Let's just keep flipping through. So then I started incorporating the little weekly to-dos that people had that I kept seeing on Tumblr, and I liked them and I used them. I found they were extremely helpful for school to keeping track of assignments and stuff. I think I'll probably incorporate these again once I get full swing into my part-time job as an assistant, because I know that I'm going to have a lot of to-dos for her, and we have a Wunderlist app that we share, but I think it'll be helpful to us with that. Ooh. Here's the spread. Beautiful Harold. Sweet, sweet Harold. Weekly events, weekly tasks. Basically, my whole process for my weekly spreads is like I just start out, and then as I find empty space coming up, I just kind of slap things on, whether it be pictures or washi tape or quotes or anything, honestly. This was the first time since the February before where I tried to do a monthly spread. I set up like a little calendar, and then I set up a quote and monthly tasks and stuff like that. And then I tried to do a water tracker. I should probably be doing that again. Here we are. Here's more of February. I did write stuff down here. It's just in a very, very light colored pen. This used to be one of my least favorite spreads just because I felt like everything clashed a lot, but I rather like it. Again, I would sometimes write study plans just because if I knew that I had room, or I would make room, and I found that this was also a really good way. Because then this way I knew that it was next to all my to-dos, so I didn't have to go looking around for it. This March monthly spread is absolutely one of my favorite spreads in my entire journal. It just seems very bright and colorful. And I realized that having the physical calendar didn't work out for me since I have one of those on my wall in my apartment. So instead I just had this, my reminders, and a monthly task list, along with really pretty pictures and nice quotes and stuff. Here's a habit tracker that I tried out. I think it worked decently. I think I'm going to start incorporating these again because I really do like these. Again, when you don't have room or you don't know where to put something, just put a bunch of washi tape on there. Events, tasks, to-dos, more of these. This is when I went on a little vacation, so I decided to write some stuff about how I was feeling. This was over spring break. Another vintage photo, different type of lettering thing. Since I only had 3 days, I knew I could take up a little more space with how it was looking. These stickers I got from a pack, the Me and My Big Ideas, I think it's called. I got those from Michael's. Let's see here. More to-dos. I tried it horizontal. As you can see, these are also two of my favorite pictures ever of Louis Tomlinson. As you can see, I got very sort of experimental with how I was laying things out on a week-to-week or even month-to-month, day-to-day basis. Is that I had some elements that I kept the same in everything, but I stayed very flexible within those elements and to how I would use them and stuff. I still write in my bullet journal very particularly monumental events in my life, so this was opening weekend for the musical that I was starring in. So then this was a little page that I had kind of started in on, just a collection of nice words and quotes and stuff. I'm still working on it, obviously. Here we go, more quotes and stickers and to-do lists that are not completed. And then we have May, which I also really, really love. I think May and March are probably my favorites. This is, again, just very calm and very peaceful. with 2 of my favorite Van Gogh quotes. Here we are. Oh, and then this is when I graduated, and so I was again feeling a lot of feelings because I just graduated college, so I wrote a lot here. And then I didn't use it for the whole next week, so I just jumped in on the 18th, and then I jumped again to the 23rd. So this is when I started getting really sporadic with my use of my bullet journal this past summer, just because I was really overwhelmed. And I think that honestly one of the reasons why I was really overwhelmed is because I wasn't using this as much as I had been. And so over the course of June, July, and August, I only wrote these 3 spreads. And then my sister's bachelorette party, and then this was at the end of August. Again, pictures that I find online and I cut off and put in. Sometimes I just find random pictures that I like and we'll put them into a doc and print them out. Sometimes I try and arrange some type of aesthetic. This was an arranged aesthetic that I followed from @JournalSanctuary's post. And then more of this. And then, oh, this is by the Arealigraphy Project on Tumblr. I also use all her printouts for my calendars. Here we go, more. I was practicing my business cards, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with those. So my bullet journal still doubles as a place for productivity and a place for me kind of working through stuff. I get a lot more in depth in my other sort of art journal that I have, but I find that my bullet journal also works as a good space for me to kind of figure out what's going on in my head. This page is weird and empty because I was feeling weird. And so I just kind of wrote a bunch of quotes there to sort of fill up that space because I didn't know what to do with it. And then my November spread, super minimal for me because again, I was just feeling really weird. So the way that my bullet journal looks often reflects a lot about like how I was feeling at the time of the creation of the spread. Here's this one. I got my Crayola super tips, so I was practicing my lettering with those. These are from Adele's concert, actually. So I was really taking advantage of using those. More feelings and stuff. My Thanksgiving spread. Do no harm, but take no shit. Do not go gentle into that good night. My December spread, we're creeping up on now. I really do like this monthly spread. I like my monthly spread if I just do the reminders, a little kind of jot of how I'm feeling, and then maybe like a good quote and some other pretty aesthetic stuff. I also used my stamps that I have because I have some really cool stamps now. So this was last week. I really, really love this spread. I just love how bright and clean it is. And then my Christmas spread. And then from today, actually. So this is my to-dos for the day. And then I'm going to put this here and tape this down here. And so this is another way I'll kind of start planning things out. And then if I know that there are certain pictures like this one that I want to include in a spread, I'll just work around those. So I have quite a bit of space left, but I really want to start a new bullet journal. So I may just use this as journaling space or sketching space or what have you. And then I have my little pocket here in the back of the moleskin wherein I would put all my little bits and bobs, so stickers and pictures and tickets and all kind of things like that. Stuff that I may want to use in future spreads. It was kind of breaking, so I had to put some washi tape over it. But yeah, so, oh no, and see now it's poking out through the bottom. Get in there. Alrighty. So, that is the entirety of my bullet journal. This thing has seen me through a lot, and frankly, I'm really, really excited to start a new one. I'm gonna put the same symbol on it. I drew this triangle on there with nail polish when I first got this book just because I thought triangles were cool and I didn't know what else to put on the front. And then one of my friends saw it and she said, "Oh, delta." And I said, "What do you mean by that?" She told me, "Delta, that's the symbol for change." And I think that keeping this every day has definitely been a really, really fundamental part of my growth and my change into a better, happier person over the past 2 years. So, hope this gave you guys a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of something to look at as to what to do with your bullet journals in the new year. If you want, you can follow me on Tumblr @SteadyRose. You can also follow me on Instagram @SteadyRose. And I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful day. Stay brilliant.